Welcome to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, the daily talk show with the voice of Penn State football and men's basketball. You never know what special guest may stop on by any given day. Now here's the man of the hour, Mr. Steve Jones.
Welcome. Great to have you with us. Luka went back, had a good game, and the Lakers won. All right, so we're done with that. In the
31 at halftime.
Right, but I'm just saying, it's all the NBA is too much about drama. It's too much about personalities. It's too much about themes. Please just stop. Play the games. Okay, who wins? Okay, I mean, seriously.
No, I
they've done. They made a conscious decision about 30 to 40 years ago that they were going to put the names of the players at the front of the marquee. Right? Mm-hmm. Tonight it's Larry Bird and the Celtics against Magic Johnson and the Lakers. Okay, it's Michael Jordan and the Bulls. Okay, Charles Barkley and the Sixers, Suns, whatever he was playing with at the time. And now it's turned into a soap opera. And this is one of the reasons why I know the league has not a good TV contract. Now they have a great TV contract. Mm-hmm. That is to their credit. But when Four Nations comes up in the NHL and people are like, this is great, and people are looking at the NBA All-Star game going, I can't watch this. Mm-hmm. Right? There is a problem, and the ratings in the regular season are not good.
No.
You can't keep setting up these false, really, honest to goodness, I'm sitting here in State College. I could care less, right? Luka got traded. That's their problem. He's with the Lakers, right? And they can go from there, and we'll see how far the Lakers go. But you can't have every game be a soap opera. You can't. Mm-hmm. And this is what they're doing in this league. It's a soap opera. Right? It doesn't mean there aren't real issues playing out. And Calvin Booth wanted Mike Malone to play Jalen Pickett more, among others. Pick wasn't the only one. Right? Over what Russell Westbrook. And by the way, Jalen had a career high 18 last night for Denver in their win over Sacramento. And Westbrook was 2 of 11. And he had a tough night. Now that's a night. But the soap opera revolves too much around certain players, and that turns off a lot of fans. And the soap opera revolves around too few teams, which turns off fans. And I know that this theme got them to a certain point of popularity. Mm-hmm. But it's plateaued across the board with people. They're like, after a while, it's like, okay, all the drama, Draymond Green, Kevin Durant. After a while, people get bored with this stuff. Mm-hmm. Play ball. Play good basketball. Right? Play exciting basketball. Is Doncic a terrific player? Sure. But you can't have the build-up all night long. I'm going to go back to college basketball, right? And ESPN's responsible for a lot of this. They play a lot of this game all the time. Kendrick Perkins talks about the whatever. I don't care what Kendrick Perkins talks about. I can guarantee you he doesn't care what I talk about. Mm-mm. What a coincidence. Right? He doesn't care what I talk about.
No, you're right.
Right? So why should I care what he talks about? I don't care what he talks about. Mm-hmm. So what? I'm glad he played. That's terrific. He could have played better in the 2009 finals. But that's just a different story for me on a different day. But you can't keep doing this. Now, college basketball did this. Mm-hmm. And again, it's an ESPN thing. John Calipari brings Arkansas his return to Rupp. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, everything's about the entrance. The entrance takes 3 to 5 minutes total from the time you walk to the locker room, get to the bench, shake some hands, some whole thing. Mm-hmm. You'll add in the introduction of the teams and the head coach's boom. Everybody boos, smattering of cheers. It's over. Now it's Arkansas against Kentucky. Yet, the entire night, it is brought up 15, 20 times. I'm not exaggerating.
No, you're right. You're spot on.
Right? It's not a soap opera. It's a game. And it turned out to be a game that, in my opinion, I think turned Arkansas' season in the SEC around. They got a big win. They garnered some momentum. They felt good about themselves. They gained a lot of confidence from winning that game on the road. Kentucky's confidence was shaken a bit. They weren't as good after that, right? Because in the end, it is about the game, right? And you can do all. Now, I understand that part of the story is how the fans reacted last night and so forth, and it was also a game that had meaning for both teams last night. It's not as if Dallas is out of it. They aren't. But you can't have the league thrive on being a soap opera. I mean, As the World Turns has been canceled, okay? And a long time ago. There aren't as many soap operas as there used to be.
No.
Right? Even in prime time, Dallas Dynasty, you name it, Falcon Crest, they're all gone. Right? And you've got to be able to thrive on quality of product and not storyline. Quality of product has got to carry the day, and that makes you want to watch and say, man, this is great basketball. These are the best players in the world.
You know what team doesn't have a great quality of product that I would like to discuss? Because last night they officially got eliminated from the playoffs. The Phoenix Suns. So before the season began, the Phoenix Suns owner, Matt Ishbia, who loves you, of course.
Well, he played at Michigan State. He played at Michigan State. He was a walk-on. He played against Penn State.
He, at the start of the season, said, and I quote, "Ask the other 29 GMs. 26 of them would trade their whole team for our team, our draft picks, and everything as is. The house is not on fire. We're in a great position. It's not hard to fix." That preceded a 35-45 season. They have 2 games to go and are out of the play-in game. They are 11th. They could possibly fall down to 12th in the Western Conference, and they don't have their first-round pick because they traded it. Their pick is probably going to go to the number 2 seed in the West, the Houston Rockets. Because they bet, we think the Suns are going to be terrible. And look at that. They are.
I know. And that's the part that is, you're talking about a team that was in the finals 3 years ago against Milwaukee. And they thought by acquiring Kevin Durant, it would put them over the top. Just like Brooklyn thought acquiring Kevin Durant would put them over the top. Well, the only team that he put over the top were the Golden State Warriors. Oh, by the way, they'd already won one without him. And then they won one with him after he left. And they are, I mean, it's not, look, Durant is a great player. There's no getting around it. He is a great player. He's averaging about 27 points a game. They got Devin Booker. But you also make a deal, which at the time, if you recall, I said, this is a so what, no big deal. It's not going to help you deal. Bradley Beal. And I said that there are certain guys that this league puts, and again, this is an ESPN thing. Oh, Bradley Beal is ready to John Wall. I said, slow down. They're good to decent players. They're not great players. I watched a lot of NBA basketball in my lifetime. Not on my list of all-time greats, despite you portraying them. And they are not honest with people. And the reason they're not honest with people is they make it into a soap opera. It goes back to that. Bradley Beal, what a player. I sit there, I watch Bradley Beal, and I'm going, yeah, he's good. Do I think he's great? Nope. Never thought he was great. Devin Booker I really like. I mean, I've always liked Booker a lot. But that's, okay, they bring him in, and guess what? Right? Sure, he's 17 points a game, the whole thing. He's not that good. Right? It doesn't, we got to have, again, we went with the 3-man formula for a long period of time. You got to have the 3 guys. And, for example, the Celtics really put that on Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen.
But they had 4. They had Rondo. Rondo was a 4. And that was the weird one. The big 3 plus Rondo.
Then it's Bosh, LeBron, Dwayne Wade, okay? To go against San Antonio, which had Duncan, Ginobili, and, of course, Tony Parker. Okay. Now, it didn't hurt that they also had Kawhi Leonard.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't hurt that they had Ray Allen in an acquisition.
Boris Diaw.
Right? It didn't hurt that Mario Chalmers was with
Miami.
Okay, and Haslam was with Miami.
They had Mike Miller, one of the best three-point shooters
Right?
of all time.
They had guys that were stars in their roles.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody decided, because every league is a copycat league.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Washington's having great success running counter Trey. We'll run counter Trey. Excuse me, you don't have Jacoby, Grimm, Bostic. It doesn't work as well without really good players. So let's get to now the big three. Philadelphia has, to their credit, perfected big three failure.
Yeah.
All right? They've kept trying to do it in any combination possible, and they get nowhere with it. And they're not the only ones. Brooklyn tried to do it. I just mentioned Durant. Well, Durant was there with Harden. He was there with Kyrie Irving. And again, nothing. And at one point they had Paul Pierce, too. Right? Nothing. And it's happened over and over again where you have to have the right combination of guys to do it. And everybody keeps coming up with the wrong combination. They did as well. And Durant, Booker, Beal. Beal's a problem. He's only a good player. He is not the player ESPN portrays him to be.
Do you know what the bigger problem with Beal is and the bigger problem with the Suns? When they made the Beal trade, they also traded DeAndre Ayton, and they basically traded Ayton, all their stuff they had, Chris Paul, for Beal and Yusuf Nurkic.
Right, exactly.
That was their bet. These two guys who are both... Nurkic is a serviceable center.
Yeah.
He's not great defensively.
Right. Hasn't played much because he's been bad. Right.
And they just benched him completely this season.
Yep.
And they took all these guys and were like, this is what we're going in on. And as everyone knows, you can have stars in this league, but who does Jordan pass to when needed someone to make a shot at the end of a game? He passed it to Steve Kerr.
Right.
Who, like, when LeBron
John
has
Paxson
played well.
John Paxson. So
we've seen everybody. You need role players on your team. It is not just 3 players. It is 8. You need 8 men. You need 8 players on a team. If you get to 10, you're living life, but you need 8 guys as a rotation.
The focal point is Tatum and Brown.
Yes.
And then, of course, Porzingis. But you don't get anywhere without Derek White.
Drew Holiday.
You don't get anywhere without Drew Holiday. You don't get anywhere without Peyton Pritchard.
Luke Cornett,
Sam Hauser. I mean, you don't get there without those guys where you sit back and go, hey, you just gave me 8 to 12 points in this game tonight. Okay, well, guess what? In a game you win by 8, guess what? The 8 to 12 points were important. And so they have invested so much in the top 3, they've let the next 5 go to heck in a handbasket, and they aren't that good. And it's not as if Ishbia doesn't have the money to get people. He spent $4.2 billion to acquire the Suns.
And the part that makes me laugh on the inside is the Suns in the trade with Yusuf Nurkic gave up a player named Toumani Camara.
Yeah.
Player that apparently the Suns loved and didn't want to get rid of, but they gave him up for Yusuf Nurkic.
Right.
Nurkic has been terrible. Camara now plays with the Trailblazers.
Yep.
Camara is now a really ridiculously good wing. Like someone who they believe is going to be one of the best wings for them. He's incredible defensively. Right. He's putting up 11 points a game as a 20-something-year-old. He's younger than I am by a couple weeks. Right. So, but he's playing incredibly well, and they gave up a wing who they needed for a guy who they're now not playing. They went all in on the 4-man rotation instead of the 8 guys. And you look at other teams around the NBA, and everyone's talking about the Thunder. The reason the Thunder are so good isn't just because they have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, one of the best players in the league.
He's really
They
good.
also have in their starting lineup Lou Dort, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Hartenstein, and then below them you have Alex Caruso.
Right, but they play.
Incredible.
But they play as a team.
Yeah, but you also have depth. You have Caruso, Kaysen Wallace, Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, Jalen Williams, Kenrich Williams. Like, you go down the list, Aaron Wiggins. They have, they're 10, 11 players deep who can all play and are not liabilities when they play.
See, what Oklahoma City and Houston have done is, to be honest with you, they quietly built their lineups. Yes, Holmgren is a big get. There's no getting around it. Holmgren is a, getting, and they didn't have him the first year. He got hurt. But then you look at the great job Houston has done. Green's a terrific player. Okay? Brooks is a terrific player. Van Fleet is one of those underrated point guards that he comes out of Wichita State. He plays with Toronto, helps Toronto win a championship. He's just one of those. Is he a star? No. Is he a really good NBA player? Yes. And you win with a lot of really good players. And what Houston and Oklahoma City have done, they've won with a lot of really good players. Right? They've got, let's face it. I mean, okay. Yeah, with Oklahoma City, he's a star. I mean, he's a star. But and Holmgren probably is a star as well in this league. Yet they've got a lot of really good players. I mean, as you know, SGA, terrific. Okay, Williams a good player. Okay, all the way through, you look at their lineup. I mean, they're just a well put together team. And let's go back to, when the Dream Team was formed, 33 years ago, one of the important elements of what they did was they formed a team. That was actually important to them. Yes, you had Jordan, Bird, Magic, but they were a team. They had positional balance. They had depth at every position. 96, they sort of, there was more of the all-star element. 2000, and then when they got to 2004, they got to the point where we can put anybody out there and win, and they lost because they didn't put a team together. They put all-stars together, not a team. Some of these organizations are trying to put together all-stars. Oklahoma City and Houston put together, to their credit, teams. Oh, yeah. Again, SGA is a legitimately great player. He's not a good player. He's a great player. Okay? And Holmgren is very much in that realm as well. That he's a great player. But people don't realize Williams is averaging like 21-plus points a game. He's playing really well. But you sit there, right, and then your old buddy Hartenstein, but he's not, he leads them in rebounding.
What they did is
your guy.
They had Paul George, they had Russell. So they traded everyone away. They got rid of everyone in that the Paul George trade. So this happens. They get Shea back, and Shea has been
Paul George is another example. He's Bradley Beal. Where he has a couple good playoff series with Indiana, that's fine, okay? It's not like he doesn't have talent, but they make him out to be some sort of all-time great. He's no all-time great. He's a very good player. And his career is good to very good. I'm sorry. It may not match up with the ESPN narrative of him. It may not match up with the NBA's narrative of him, but everywhere he's gone since Indiana, what's he done?
Nothing.
He did very little with the Clippers. He did very little with the Thunder, and he's done very little with the Sixers. That's because he is no better than a good to very good player. He is not the star people portray. I've seen a lot of NBA basketball. I know what stars look like. He's not one of them. Right? Again, it's part of the soap opera culture that ESPN portrays with this league. They are a big problem with this. And you're like, you're getting sold a bill of goods. He is the superstar of all super. He is not. And Oklahoma City, to its credit, recognized it and said, let's get some good basketball players here. Let's get some people that can mesh together and play together. Okay? I mean, Oklahoma City is one of those teams nobody knows about. Houston's a team that nobody knows about because everybody's talking about the damn Lakers all the time. I mean, that's all they talk about is the Lakers. The Lakers. The Lakers. The Lakers. Well, believe me, there's a whole chunk of this country who would like to see Oklahoma City play the Lakers and run them off the court. Okay? There's a lot of people who would like to see Oklahoma City play the Lakers and run them out of the building.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
No, I know. I agree.
I mean, would it draw a rating? Yeah, the Lakers will get a rating for you. All right? I mean, because LeBron will draw a rating, and LeBron had a great fourth quarter in the game last night, to his credit.
You know what I enjoy doing real fast is revisiting trades that have happened, the big ones, the ones that we talk about where it's like this is a star-studded one and a crazy one because of the magnitude of it. So of course the PG one you alluded to, and I had to find the details on it. I wanted to get the exacts here. So in the trade, The Clippers got Paul George. They also got to sign Kawhi Leonard. That was part of the trade. We know that. And for the Clippers, you have the ability to get the stars. You do. Okay, cool. Go for it. We get it. You only have an ability to get those players once, similar to what, if you're the Mavericks, you draft Luka, trade him away. We discussed it yesterday. You don't do that. But Thunder got Danilo Gallinari, left. They got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who they thought was going to be a great player. Didn't think he was going to be MVP caliber, but great player. He's turned into a great player. They got a first-round pick, which became Trey Mann, which they traded away for a first-round pick this past season.
Yep.
The 2022 Clippers first-round pick became Jalen Williams, who is now All-Star. They got the rights to a swap pick in 2023, which they did not do. They had a 2024 first-round pick last year. They have a first-rounder this year, a swap next year, and a first-round pick after that. And they got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams. They're 2 All-Stars. One of them an MVP for Paul George.
Right.
And they got the player. They got Shai and said, we're going to draft around him. We're going to build around him. We're not going to be great off the bat, but we're going to take the players that we need to around those guys. And, yeah, everyone thought taking Chet Holmgren was a great idea. What could possibly go wrong? They drafted him and said, we can see the actual fit of him on this team. And then they don't go out and trade for mega superstar every second of the day. They're like, you know what? We have the money. We're going to go sign Isaiah Hartenstein because we have a needed backup big.
Yep.
He can rebound. He can play well. He's hard, and he'll help us.
He's a star in his role.
And then they say, you know what? We have a first-round pick. We're going to use that to go at Alex Caruso. Great defender, great player, great role player. He's exactly what we need. We're going to use it and spend him to build out our rotation. They're not saying and sitting here saying, let's trade Jalen Williams for Kevin Durant. They're not doing that. They're saying we're going to build around the players we have and put together a roster. And if one of these stars hits, it does. In the case of the Rockets, they're hoping that Jalen Green, Amen Thompson, someone becomes the star. And if they do, all of a sudden, they have a rotation and they have a star.
Brad Stevens had nothing to do with drafting Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. He had nothing to do with that part of it. Okay. Well, he was the coach. He wasn't the GM. Yeah. Okay. So he wasn't the GM, but he probably had input. But what he did was, I've got 2 great players. I'm not breaking them up, and I'm going to build a team around them. Holiday is he a superstar? No, but he's a darn good player.
He is as good as they get in his role.
And he'll probably get to the Hall of Fame, right? Really good player. Porzingis, again, we talked to a different type of player. Getting Derek White in the trade from San Antonio, former back end first round pick. I think he was like the 30th pick in the draft or something like that for with San Antonio. He may have been the last pick of the first round. Right? But obviously, if you're a first-round pick, somebody thinks highly of you. San Antonio did that, and Stevens acquired him. Okay, they drafted Peyton Pritchard. They drafted Shireman. They've gone about that, but the other ones were the big trades. Yeah, okay, let's get Brogdon. Now, Brogdon's a good player, but it's too similar to the other guys. He had Marcus Smart, whom he coached, and I'm sure it was tough for them to make the deal, but they had to change up what they were doing. They were just spinning their wheels. I need a different kind of guy. And then getting an Al Horford back, which now gives you leadership. Okay. Well, essentially, Oklahoma City, Houston have kind of gone about the same formula. Right? Anybody internally that's a star for us is our star. Right? I don't need to go out and acquire somebody else's star.
Yeah.
And that's what they've done here. They are not, okay, what's bad about this, and again, this is, we're going to go right back to ESPN. Okay? They only want to talk about the Lakers. How often do they really talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have had a tremendous year? Not a good year, a tremendous year. Garland's had a great year. Mitchell's a great player. Mitchell was a great player at Utah. Right? Nobody talks about them. Oklahoma City, I hardly ever talk about them. Right? Houston. Do they ever talk about the Houston Rockets? No, but gee, what do Houston and Oklahoma City have in common? They're in front of the Lakers.
Yeah.
Okay. But the Lakers are the one damn team they talk about all the time. Every time I turn around, I don't want to hear it. Right? How about somebody else? How about promoting it's a big, wide country and a big, wide league? 29 of those franchises are in the United States. Talk about them.
I have one team I want to bring up as well. That part of the cycle we've discussed is also you need the coach. The coach has to fit. And they've got to fit and be a great coach for the team you have.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you have to have that.
We always discuss a lot of these teams, they acquire players, they draft well, and then all of a sudden they go all in with the guy they get, who they're like, this is the guy we need.
Sure.
And it takes time sometimes for those things to happen. Detroit Pistons, for instance.
Yes.
Terrible team pretty much my entire life, outside of 2004, which I was barely alive for. Since then, been a bit rough. They had a few years of being bleh. They had Blake Griffin, and that was it. All of a sudden, they get Cade Cunningham. They were terrible last year. Broke a record.
Right, they got Ivy first. But Ivy, of course, broke his leg early in the season.
Yes, and he was playing incredibly this year. But they have Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, all these players, and they're drafting, they're building, they're getting there. Then this offseason, they go and get J.B. Bickerstaff, who the Cleveland Cavaliers fire because they're like, you're not good enough. They bring him in. They then go and you're like, you know what? We're going to take a bunch of misfits and make a team, but we're going to build a real team out of it. So they have Cade Cunningham.
Yeah.
They get Tim Hardaway Jr. They get second-round picks with him because the Mavs want to get rid of him to go and reload to get more players to help Luka. That didn't go well. They then go and get Tobias Harris, who the Sixers want nothing to do with anymore. They get him for 2 years and how much money. Dennis Schroeder, Malik Beasley, like a bunch of just random players who they're like, we're going to build a team out of these guys. And they have Jaden Ivey, Simone Fontecchio, Ron Holland Jr., their draft pick this past year, Isaiah Stewart, Jalen Duren, Ausar Thompson. And now they're sitting here at 43 and 36. They are going to be in the they're in the playoffs. They are guaranteed a top 6 seed. The Detroit Pistons. Before the season, I would have said they would have been maybe 13 and 60 something, probably. They built a team. They didn't just have the star, because having a star is cool, but you got to have a team around them, as we've discussed. And they did that. Took them time. They found the star. They were like, you know what? We're going to build around him, and Cade Cunningham, because we believe in his ability. And dude is paying in dividends right now because they actually have a good team. And as we saw it this year with the Detroit Lions, when Detroit's good, they go all in.
Yeah, they do.
And that is a city that cares about its sports teams. The Tigers, the Lions, the Pistons, the Red Wings, they go all in on their teams. And by golly, they're doing it now with the Pistons. And they're a fun team to watch.
Yes,
and they're going to house the Knicks in the first round, and that's going to be a fun series because Detroit's going to go crazy in the playoffs, as they do for the Lions. So I just wanted to shout out the Pistons here.
Well, all right. So now let's get to the biggest story of the day.
Yes.
Without question. And that is Penn State ice hockey playing in the Frozen Four tonight. That is the biggest story of the day, without question, and for all the fans around here. This is great for the sport of collegiate men's ice hockey. Now, for Penn State fans, you're like, well, yeah, it's okay. It's more than that. Tonight, Penn State will play BU. It'll be the second game tonight. Western Michigan is going to play Denver in the first game. Now, we know Denver's obviously a great program. Boston University is a great program. Western Michigan don't know as much about. But on the stage tonight, it'll include a brand name that everybody recognizes from football out there. The sport needed another brand name out there. It's great when Michigan is playing in the Frozen Four. It's great when Minnesota's playing in the Frozen Four, Wisconsin. But now you've got a new entry, Penn State, as a brand name playing in the Frozen Four. It is great for the sport overall because, look, let's be honest. With everything happening financially right now, And Penn State, I don't know if I talked about this with you yesterday or not, but Penn State had a meeting this week about, everybody knows Penn State's going to go to the limit of $20.5 million when the House settlement is approved. The meeting they had this week was, okay, now let's talk about scholarships, because that's going to be the other $7 to $9 million on top of the $20.5 million you have to come up with. All right. And that, of course, dealing with roster limits. Well, roster limits means, okay, every roster limit except for, I think, women's basketball, they're staying at 15. Maybe there's one other sport where there's no expansion, but everybody else is expanding or being allowed to expand, which brings with it scholarships, and guess what they cost money. Mm-hmm. Scholarships, room, board, cost money. Which now brings up something, the part that I don't think anybody really wants to talk about, but it's a reality. Mm-hmm. It is great for the sport of men's ice hockey that Penn State is in this as another brand name, because there will be no other brand names entering the world of men's ice hockey anytime soon. There will be no brand names entering the world of collegiate wrestling anytime soon. There will be no brand names entering Name the Sport anytime soon. It's not going to happen. With the money that you have to pay out now between revenue sharing and scholarships, nobody's expanding anytime soon. Okay, Penn State is fortunate that they got in 15 years ago to get men's ice hockey in here, and Terry and Kim put all that money in. They put in 88, and then they were asked for another 14. It got to 102, and they built the whole thing, and they've endowed the program. Okay, you're fortunate you have women's ice hockey right now. Right, all the sports you have right now. Okay, nobody is going to sit there. I would be shocked if somebody adds a program in the next 10 years. They financially can't do it. Okay, I'm sitting here. How many more mouths do I need to feed here? I don't have the money to do it.
Yeah.
Right? So for the sport of men's ice hockey, and you have 7 great brands in the Big Ten playing, because Notre Dame is a part of that mix as well. Mm-hmm. But don't think it's going to expand anytime soon. Don't think Indiana's going, hey, let's take on ice hockey. Illinois, no. Okay? You've got people sitting there saying they can't afford to do it unless you've got a Terry Pagula that comes in and Iowa has the arena to do it.
Yeah.
Did you make the trip to Iowa?
I've been to Carver Hawkeye. I have not been outside.
Okay, so remember we got off the highway? When we got off, I think Bob did this trip.
This trip he did.
Right, but when we get off the highway from Cedar Rapids, and then we swing down toward Iowa City, there's that complex right at the exit. And that's where the Hyatt Regency is, where we used to stay, and I think we're staying at for football. There's an arena right next to it. Not like right next, but like two buildings down, right? And it is, I think they play Iowa plays volleyball in there, but it's also an ice rink, right? Well, they could play men's ice hockey there, but they would need to have a mega donor do it. It's not existing. They're going to ask the mega donor to help out with NIL. They're going to ask the mega donor to help out with whatever donation that helps them with the $20.5 million. Okay? There's going to be no expansion of sports. Don't go with any vision of grandeur that suddenly out of nowhere 14 programs in the country are going to pick up wrestling. That's over. Okay? It's the other way around. Right?
Less.
It's going to be, please, I hope you pick sport. Okay? There are going to be a lot of difficult decisions in the next 5 years that are going to be made about programs across the country as to what to do with them when people figure out in reality what their resources are and where they fall short. And, for example, they know what's baked in the TV deals, okay, because they're baked into the end of this decade. And that's for every program across the country. There's no TV deal that's open right now. At the end of the decade, the TV deals, and let's take it even further. Let's go 7 years out. Actually, it'll be probably 6 years because that's the negotiating window. So 6 years. In that time frame, the Big Ten will have to be redone. The Big 12 will have to be redone. All right. The college football playoff will have to be redone. Okay. You say they just did it. Well, the contract's 6 years. Okay. And the NCAA basketball men's tournament needs to be redone. And the SEC needs to be redone.
Yep.
Right? That's a lot that is going to have to get redone in a span of about 2.5 years, starting at the end of this decade. In a span of 2.5 years, it's then going to reset everything for probably the next 5 to 10 years after that. Let's just say 10 years. You're fine to the rest of the decade. But this deal that they're talking about with the settlement is a 10-year settlement. In the middle of the settlement years, you're going to have conferences redoing deals. So everybody knows what their numbers are off their media deals between now and the end of the decade. And in Penn State's case, they know it's both their radio contract and, their corporate contract and their TV contract. They know all of that. So Pat's got all that and can budget out knowing he can count on those numbers for the next 5 years. What about the next 5 years? And all these deals are coming in. And the NCAA men's basketball tournament, which is bringing in about $1 billion to be spread out among the schools, they've got to make sure that whatever, and look, they were close to not getting that the last time. I mean, CBS could not go it alone. And they were able to get Turner at the time, now Discovery Warner, and they actually pay for 70% of it. So back to tonight. This is an exciting night, but it's a great night for the sport because they've got a new brand that's a recognizable national brand, not just a recognizable hockey brand,
but a brand,
but a recognizable brand on the ice tonight that has national and not regional appeal. Denver's only a regional appeal. Okay, Western Michigan is a regional appeal. BU is a regional appeal. Penn State is a coast-to-coast brand. They've got a coast-to-coast brand out there tonight. It is a big night for the sport. Now, Penn State will go out there, and you know what? Have fun. And and there's no attitude of like, I'm playing with house money. You're not playing with house money. You're playing for the national championship. Go take it.
We're 6 periods away from winning it all.
Go take it. This is not, I always love when I hear, well, they're just playing with house money. What do you mean you're playing with house money? Guess what? That's one of the big, you know how I hate myths in sports? House money is one of the greatest myths in sports. Again, another one of those where you sit back and go, where do you come up with this stuff? They're going to drop the puck, and guess what? You're going to fight your guts out to win the darn thing tonight. Right? It doesn't matter what money you're playing with. For goodness sakes, get out there, roll and go. I mean, this is what it's all about. It's about winning the game tonight to get to the title game. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to break down BU. I'm not going to even pretend to do that because I'd be lying to everybody if I broke the game down for you. I can talk about Penn State, because I've seen Penn State either play in person how many times this year or seen them play on TV how many times, whatever it happens to be. That I can do. I can't tell you a thing about BU. Zero. I can't tell you anything about Denver, and I can't tell you anything about Western Michigan. Nothing. But this house money thing, right? Stop playing, in my opinion, stop playing the cliche game. Right? That's not what it is. Do you think they're all sitting in the hotel like, hey, this is great, we're playing with house money? Or you think they're sitting in there and go, okay, look, we've got to, this is the game plan, we got to do this, this, and this. We got to make sure that they don't hurt us with this. We've got to be better on special teams, the whole thing. You think they're sitting like going, hey, guys, let's just go have a great time. We're all playing with house money. No. I mean, do you think Penn State was playing with house money in the Big Ten basketball tournament championship game 2 years ago? A couple of fans may have thought that. A couple of media people may have thought that. Guess what? I was in the meetings. They were trying to beat Purdue and win the darn thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not how it works. It's
tonight's
that's
matchup
not how it works.
in the Enterprise Center for Penn State against BU. It's 8:30 p.m. The puck drop will be 8:30. Pre-game starts 8:15 p.m. We can listen in to Eric Olson and Funk. They'll be on the call tonight.
They'll be great.
8:15. They'll be great. Of course, Brian Tripp is going over to Westwood. He'll be over there calling, I believe, all the Frozen Four matches.
He is. He's got all three games.
He has been co-opted for that, and then we'll have Eric and Funk on the call on the Penn State Sports Network.
They'll be
Very
great.
Excited to listen to.
Yes,
and that's going to be late tonight. And then the winner of the Western Michigan Denver game and BU Penn State will take on each other 7:30 p.m. on Saturday. Is when that game goes on under the arch in St. Louis.
Look, you just don't know how many times you're going to get a chance to play for this.
How many times can you say, I'm going to be in the Frozen Four?
Right. In other words, this is how many years of the program? 13 years of the program?
Mm-hmm.
I remember the first interview I did with Guy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It was on the coach's show. And I said, let's be honest. I said, this is how he said to me, he says, so how do you view where we are? He actually asked me, and I said, I tell you exactly how I view where you are. I said, you're an expansion team. I said, I said, you're an expansion team without a player entry draft.
Mm-hmm.
That you have to start from scratch. They are not putting players out there for you to pick like the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, the Vegas Golden Knights weren't in existence back then.
But the point.
But but Vegas and Seattle were able to pick players in an expansion draft, and at least have a team. I said, you got to sign them all from scratch. Well, they built the whole thing from scratch to get to this point. That's why I thought it was so important the way Guy interacted with all the former players.
Mm-hmm.
There is no Frozen Four unless those former players set it up to help get the program in a position to get to the Frozen Four, whether it's through recruiting, name recognition, something, making Penn State a big deal. Those former players did all that, and these current players have then taken upon themselves and have had as spectacular a second half of the season as you can ask a college program to have.
Saying they have been on fire is putting it lightly.
Right. But
they have no words.
But you get there to this point.
Mm-hmm.
There are too many assumptions made all the time in sports. UNLV beat Duke by 30 last year. They'll go, wait a minute. Do you mean they lost? They lost the game. Oh. The Fab Five will win. They never won a Big Ten title? They lost the 2 championship games, but they never won the Big Ten title. Oh, right. Look at the great dynasties in football. Okay, let's talk about the Raiders. Well, the Raiders are magical now with John Madden, and John Madden was magical.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what the knock on him was until they beat the Vikings in the Super Bowl and the Rose Bowl?
Couldn't win
the big game. Oh, his problem was they couldn't get past Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Tom Landry can't win the big game. All of a sudden he won Super Bowl VI. After being so close. I mean, you see all the great timelines on the Ice Bowl the year before, right? Everything, right? Couldn't win the big game. Bud Grant, the knock on a great coach, can't win the big game, right? And you get these labels. Well, when you get there, just take the darn thing.
Yeah.
You've got to. You're not playing with house money. There's no such thing as playing with house money.
Mm-mm.
Mega gamblers such as yourself, that's former Major League will manage the U.S. Oh, who cares?
Jeez, unprofessional.
Who cares?
I'll text Dick Girardi and say, look at that. Steve. Look at Steve.
Mark DeRosa. Yeah. Look, that's that. There's no such thing as it. Okay? You have a chance to take it. Take it. Get your name etched on the as a forever. Right? Like, hey, this is great. We're playing. No. Hey, guess what? There's a reason why you got here.
Yeah.
There's a reason why nobody wants to play you. Okay? Just go take it. They've had they've been fortunate to get certain guys back because Jimmy Dowd, for example, was out for a long period of time. I mean, even Sergeyev missed some time this year. And he's been tremendous in this run. I think having the 2 weeks off helps them because, all right, it's not quite 2 weeks. It's what, 10 11 days.
But it gives them time
helps
to rest.
But it gave them the rest to heal up. Everybody is sore at this time of the year. Everybody is. And what's interesting is that they've made this run, and who hasn't been scoring goals? Aiden Fink. Oh, he's played really well.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is not, he has a number of assists. His mere presence has opened up the ice for other people. But your Hobie Baker Award nominee doesn't have a goal in this run.
No.
I mean, that's the, if I'm Boston University, that worries me.
Because if he comes alive, what happens?
That worries me.
What if he gets 2 goals against you? Uh-oh.
Right. If he gets 1.
Yeah, that's when the red alert goes off no.
Okay.
The rest of these guys are scoring. If he starts scoring all of a sudden,
here we go. Yeah, and that's what you get concerned about. But that's the big story. It's exciting. Everybody I know is going to be locked in on watching this thing tonight. I think it's going to be great theater in a great setting. This St. Louis has been a great hockey community. Well, they finally won the Stanley Cup in 19. That's another one. Always been close. And people forget that team was in last place at the All-Star break that year.
They were last place and then just put on, similar to what Penn State is right now, they just took a blowtorch to their backside and just said, let's go really fast.
Yeah, right, exactly. But it's a great hockey town. Not a good hockey town. It's a great hockey town. It's been a great hockey town since they expanded in there because they were the Western winner. Now, it was all the expansion teams together.
Yeah.
But they were the Western winner the first 3 years in this thing. Montreal beat them twice, and then the Bruins beat them. Right? Or as Glenn Hall always used to say to Bobby Orr, is that the only goal you ever scored?
So St. Louis is a great hockey town.
Yeah.
You know what else is a great town? Augusta, Georgia, Steve.
Yeah,
the Masters officially kicked off today.
Yes. Jack Nicklaus, Tom Watson, and Gary Player hit the opening tee shots.
And where things are in terms of who people should be looking at in terms of the big name guys, the players who are the most favored to win. You've got
Scheffler and McIlroy are the two that are going to come to the top right away.
You've got
Oberg is a guy to take a long, hard look at. He has a beautiful swing, a beautiful game, and you know what's great about him? He doesn't mess around.
No.
In other words, he's not one of those guys where it sits back. Like if they had a shot clock in golf, he would be irrelevant to it. He grabs a club, goes up, looks around, hits the ball. All right, fans love following him. All right, there's certain guys that play this course well, but the length of the course, right, is brutal. For example, it's Bernard Langer's last Masters. He's won it twice. His career on the Champions Tour has been phenomenal. And endurance plays every week. Every once in a while everybody gets hurt, but right? But as Fred Couples had a great interview yesterday, he says, you know what? He says, we'll both hit the ball in the fairway. So he said, but the length of this thing is just going to grind us out. He says, look, the goal for us is to make the cut. Right? But that's the way it is. Those are some of the players that are, Scheffler's an obvious one. He's the defending champion. He's actually played well, but the putter has been a bit balky, but his putter has always been a bit balky. The only thing that's kept him from winning a tournament early in the season is that McIlroy's played great. There may not be a better driver of the ball, maybe in the history of the game, than McIlroy. The length, 330 is not uncommon, and not only that, 8 times out of 10 he's straight. Yeah. This is not a guy McIlroy's not a guy who goes out and suddenly it's like where Bubba Watson and Phil Mickelson are in the pine straw, sitting there on 13, how do we get to the green? McIlroy's not like that. He normally is hitting from the short stuff because he's such a great driver off the tee. And that's something that's important. Oberg has beautiful pace to him and just a beautiful game about him. And you have 95 players out there that are among the best in the world. There'll be no Tiger Woods because, with the Achilles, he won't be able to play, and nor would he have been a factor anyway.
Yeah.
He
would have been there as a draw.
It's an accomplishment to make it. But now you got the live guys there. The live guys are more wild cards in this because you don't really know.
And that's where I bring up the top 8 guys everyone's expecting.
Because DeChambeau and Koepka have got to be 2 of the 8.
You've got Scheffler, McIlroy at 1-2. Third is Morikawa. And then tied for 4th and 5th, Bryson DeChambeau, John Rahm, Oberg, Schauffele, and then Justin Thomas round out the top 8. So those are the top 8 guys.
No Koepka?
No Brooks Koepka. He is down at 12.
Nah, Koepka's better.
But in terms of anyone, 22-1 or better.
You have to have people who know how to play this course. Koepka knows how to play it.
Yeah.
In this, Schauffele has been okay to this point after a great year last year. We all know he's talented. When he won the Olympic gold medal in 2021, he showed everybody he could win a big tournament. Then last year he won 2 of them. All right, and is a terrific player. DeChambeau. I talked about the length of the course. Well, that's no issue.
Yeah, he can hit it. He can hit it to the green.
Right. The question with him is where.
If he's hitting them straight, if he's hitting them well.
Let's see. Morikawa. The problem has been putting. Well, it's been twofold. What has made Morikawa a great player? What's made him a great player? And he's not been good at this year. Augusta National is a second shot golf course.
What do you mean? And explain, as someone who doesn't golf a lot, what does that mean?
In other words, your drive off the tee has to put you in a spot where your second shot now puts you in a position to, okay? I'm on 11, which is one of the toughest holes to play.
Yeah.
You've got the pond on the left. You got some bailout on the right. The green is a little bit different now than when Larry Mize chipped in, okay? Because now they've banked it a little bit. So the Mize chip in, right, from 1987, it's a different type of shot now. You've got to be able to walk up there and say, okay, I'm not pin hunting here. I just want to get I want to get to a point where the angle does everything it can to take the pond out of play, and it kind of takes the bailout out of play. But I've got to hit it to the center of the green. That way I'm putting no matter what, right? That's what I mean by second shot, okay? 15, the second shot, you've got to get it to the green. You can't roll it past. You definitely want to be short because that's where Ballesteros went in 86, right? Because that's a par 5 that you can score on. Your second shot gives you a 2-putt birdie possibility. Your second shot at 13 gives you a 2-putt birdie possibility. But you don't want to be short, you're in Rays Creek. You don't want to be so far back that you're chipping because it's downhill, and guess where downhill takes you? Rays Creek. Right? So that's what I mean by it's a second shot golf course. It sets up all your possibilities along the way. Morikawa's iron play in his career has been outstanding. So you would think it would play well for him, except this year his iron play has been like this. And you can tell he's frustrated by it because his putting's only been okay. He did not putt well at the Players. I mean, didn't even remotely putt well at the Players. Justin Thomas, and don't leave out this guy. Certain guys that know how to play this course. Jordan Spieth. Don't leave Jordan Spieth's name out of it. I know he's a big name. Everybody loves him. He's universally. I mean, people love him. I mean, when I covered the U.S. Open in 2016 at Oakmont, the practice range, the people gathered around him were incredible. I mean, I thought Jerry was there. What?
Jordan Spieth is currently 16th in the odds. He's 40-1 right now.
That's fine, but he knows how to play the course, and he's won on it. Right? There's the pressure to win a second one, but it's not right. But it's not like, for example, for McIlroy. Look, there are only 5 guys in the history of the game. That have won all 4 of these. Only 5. Think of the guys that haven't. Okay? Mickelson. Okay? Because he doesn't have the U.S. Open.
Mm-hmm.
Arnold Palmer.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have the PGA. Tom Watson. Because he doesn't have the PGA. Right? People assume that these guys have that. Nick Faldo, who doesn't have the U.S. Open or the PGA. Mm-hmm. But he's got 6 because he's got 3 Masters, 3 Opens. Seve Ballesteros didn't. Right? It's Tiger. It's Jack Nicklaus. Okay? It's Gary Player. Right? God, let's see. I think Gene Sarazen would be the other one that has all 5. Right? That has all 4. And the other one escapes me.
Ben Hogan.
Ben Hogan has. Okay? Those are the 5 guys that have all of them. Right? Some of the greatest names in the history of the sport don't have all 4.
Nope.
Okay? Koepka's won 5. Okay? But he's never won the Open Championship or the Masters. And he's got 5 of them. Mm-hmm. Right? Winning 1 is hard.
Yeah.
Okay? And McIlroy hasn't won a major in 13 years. Mm-hmm. Right? So there is going to be an internal pressure on him, but yet he is playing some of the better golf of his career. And if he's in the hunt on Sunday, every birdie he rolls in, there are going to be roars beyond words at Augusta because of the popularity of the man. Mm-hmm. He's an incredibly popular player. And this is, look, he won the Players. He played great. Mm-hmm. Okay? And there's no doubt he would have to be one of the big favorites going in, along with Scheffler, who's the defending champion. He's won 2 of the last 3 times on this course. But, it's the great history of it. Lee Trevino won everything in his career, except he never won the Masters. And there were a couple of years he refused to play the Masters. This course just doesn't fit me. And I remember watching an interview one time, and it was Palmer, Player, Nicklaus, and Trevino. Mm-hmm. It was on Golf Channel. Phenomenal interview. Phenomenal. Where you just sat there, right? And Trevino's talking about Augusta National. It doesn't really fit my game. And Nicklaus looked at me and says, what are you talking about? I said, your game was great for Augusta National. He says, come on. It's like, okay. Gave it to him pretty good. But we talk about moving around golf courses. The PGA, the U.S. Open, and the Open Championship have a rotation. This year, we're really fortunate the U.S. Open is at Oakmont. One of the great golf courses in America. But something about the Masters, the timing of it, it's after the Final Four. Dogwoods and azaleas are out. You're looking at the warm weather as you sit in the north. All right. The beauty of it, how green it is. Right? There's no dispute about PGA and LIV. They're all together playing the tournament. So you've got the best players in the world. And that's why people sit back and they can't wait for Jim Nantz to say, hello, friends, which, by the way, is a tribute to his dad.
Thank you for listening to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, a 7 Mountain Media production. Come back at 11 every weekday for analysis of the latest happening in the sports landscape. From college football to European soccer, Steve and Kyle cover it all on Sports Talk with Steve Jones.